All right, everybody, welcome back to Inside the Jackals Head live on PSN Radio and SoFlo Radio. Now with me, as I promised, is the cast and director of the movie Get Well. Let's go down the order here. Trix Donovan, the director. Say hi, Trix.
Hey, how you guys doing?
We got Jake Chambers, one of the actors in the film. Say hi, Jake.
Hi, thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. And, of course, the lovely Stephanie Casebier. Am I pronouncing your last name right, by the way? Casebier. Is that it?
It's actually pronounced like a case of beer.
That's awesome. Are you kidding me? Tell me you're being honest.
Serious as a heart attack.
That is so cool. All right, so the case of beer is here. That's going to be a heck of a party. Now, let's talk about this movie, Get Well. What's the movie all about?
It's basically, like, when I wrote it, I kind of used a little bit of examples from, like, American Psycho and Summer of Sam, a little bit of Alpha Dog. It's basically a journey through Justin Lake, who Jacob played. It's basically going through his head and his daily life, trying to deal with this problem that he has. And he basically takes it out on women. He's kind of like a modern-day Jack the Ripper.
Typical guy, right?
Yeah, but not like not as creepy. I mean, he does socialize with the people he works with and, stuff like that. I really don't want to give too much of it away.
Okay, so who's the star of the film? Is it the folks that are on the line now, Jake and Stephanie, the main stars of the film?
Well, I play Justin Lake, but I would say that it's definitely an ensemble cast.
Okay. But who is the movie, who do we see the movie, through whose eyes, basically, are we watching the movie? Like, who's the main character that we follow through?
You follow Justin, who Jake plays.
Okay, Justin, okay. So tell us about writing this script. I mean, who wrote the script for the movie, by the way?
I did. I mean, it was like a 4-year process. Wow. I did a movie, it was called Pembroke. It was one of my second movies I've done. And I wanted to do like a web series, and I kind of wanted to do something like a Nightmare on Elm Street, but I didn't really want to rip it off with like, the Dreams and like Freddy Krueger and stuff. Uh-huh. So I kind of came up with this idea about like a psychopath, kind of like Dexter. And I kind of created Justin in that sense, and I kind of want to do it as a web show. So I tried to do it with some people. I'm from New Jersey originally, and I tried to do it with some people that I knew in New Jersey, and it just wasn't really flowing with like the actors I had. I mean, the storyline was there, but I wasn't really feeling it, so I put it on hold, and I did a couple other things. But the original title for Get Well was called Permanent Nightmare, and I kind of went back to it a couple times, and I tried to do it with like actors in New York, trying to still do the web series idea, and then I met this gentleman in New York City named Richard Capobianco, who actually is in Get Well. He kind of said, "Hey man, why don't you turn it into like a full length feature?" So I did. I added a couple more characters. It basically turned into a feature film, and then the original title I went with was called Nightmare in a Damaged Brain, but it was used from like a late 1980s movie was already called that. So I was sitting with my producer, her name's Julia, and we were just like shooting names out. And I'm a big fan of this band called Icon for Hire. They played Warped Tour last year. They're actually going to play it this year again. And they had this song called Get Well. And it kind of was about battling depression. And I watched the music video. It was really, really cool. It was, the girl is in like this straight jacket in like this I guess a safe room, and like it kind of just flowed what I wanted to do. So that's basically how Get Well was brought to existence from there.
So writing and directing it took 4 years. The process.
The process from like conception until last Monday. Yeah.
Now, where are we on the process as of last Monday? 'Cause I know you were doing some editing last week, right?
No, we found our last location. That's what I was doing, and we wrapped Monday. So the movie's done filming wise. Now we have to do the editing, the ADR, soundtrack and score and all that.
Now, how long do you think the post production is going to take?
I talked to my DP, and he's also the editor. His name's Rex Yao. He's probably one of the best in the Southeast, I got to admit. And I actually talked to him yesterday. Trailer will be the next 2 weeks, and he said everything should be done by October, November.
Very cool, very cool. Now, Jake, Stephanie, is this the first acting role that you two have had, or have you been in other productions?
Yes,
this is my first feature film, but I've had like other smaller independent things in the Atlanta area.
Oh, okay. How different was that from what you've done before, by the way?
Very different. Most of the stuff that I had done in the past were television pilots that were trying to take off in Atlanta. So they were just like a one-day gig, and this was about 7-month process. So it was very different in that aspect of time length.
That's a good long shoot, 7 months.
Yeah.
That's a good amount. Jake, yourself?
It is actually my first, and I was brought on in December, so I had a shorter shooting schedule. But yes, it was definitely different than anything I've done before.
Very cool. Now, this project, are we looking for limited release, theatrical? Are you looking for online streaming release? How are you going to go about the actual release of the project, Donovan?
Well, I have a couple distribution companies already interested.
Okay.
I have a friend with the Sci-Fi Network, NBC Universal. Black Wolf Media actually sent me an email. They're interested. They want to see a trailer. My main goal is to get it out anywhere I can. My main thing, I think, this movie will be will be looked at very well in overseas, like the German, Italian, Japanese, those type of markets. Because the Europeans and the Asian the Asian viewers, they really like to see the violence, the sex, the drugs. I think it'll be received really, really well overseas. But yeah, I mean, the sky's the limit for this. Festival run, everything.
Very cool. Now, are you at liberty to release the budget of the movie?
Do you want me to release the budget? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
I can't release the numbers. I can't release the numbers. Good try, though, but I can't release the numbers.
Now, when you watch, as a filmmaker, when you watch what's going on this past weekend with the Fast and Furious franchise, I mean, that came kind of like out of nowhere, became this big thing. As a filmmaker, I mean, what is that? Does that inspire you to create something as unique as this? To maybe have it one day launch something as big as that?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I would love to do like a mainstream Hollywood film, write and direct it myself. And I would definitely use Jake and Stephanie again. I mean, Jake's talent, I mean, I tell him this all the time. I mean, this kid's phenomenal. I mean, and Stephanie is just up there with Jake. I mean, these two are probably the best actors I've ever worked with. I mean, the notes they take. I gave both of them freedom to create Justin and Skyler, and I mean, I'm just so proud to know them, to work with them, and actually consider them my friends now. I mean, we became like a little family, the whole Get Well cast, and I would definitely love to work with both of them again. I could see Jake as like a leading man in a Hollywood film. I can definitely see Stephanie as a leading lady in a Hollywood film.
In 7 months, you definitely grow a good bond.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Now, going through the process of creating the characters, since Trix gave you the freedom to really create these characters, explain to the audience, what you went through as a method actor. I'm sure, as method actors go, I mean, they really try to capture the character's essence. I mean, what process did you guys go through, being this is your first feature film, as trying to get into character and build this character from the ground up?
Well, the first thing that I did was make a choice as to why Justin behaves in the way that he does, and I made the choice very early on in my research that he was not born this way. He was not born Justin Lake. Instead, his behavior is in a lot of ways a yield from his environment, and so that also uncovered motivations for him to influence his environment as much as his environment influenced him and his developmental years, where when most children are being wrapped in love and support, he was not. And so that created a void for him that he feels by, the actions that take place throughout the script. So I made that choice, and then I studied a lot of serial killers, a lot of psychopaths. Justin is very different in the way that he goes about killing. A lot of his actions are the result of impulses, and you kind of see that compound throughout the film until he's in a constant state of compulsion. And he also suffers from psychosis. So he has auditory and visual hallucinations. So he has a really hard time finding the reality that's present because of that. So I studied the psychology of that, and I studied different documentaries, different video footage that I could find, different news articles from a lot of different documented serial killers, and I kind of took all of that and pieced Justin together.
What are some of the most famous cases that drew your attention when you were doing your research?
Well, there were a lot of them, and I think that was the most challenging part of this whole process for me, was actually the research portion. It was the part that I lost the most sleep because when you're constantly feeding yourself with this evil and with these individuals who have no compassion for human life, no value of human life, that is something very difficult for me to do, because that is something so far removed from who I am as a person. I remember the day that I got cast, I was doing research, and there was a ladybug crawling on the concrete pillar by the area that I was studying, and I told myself in my mind I have to kill this ladybug and not feel any remorse. And I know that's kind of an extreme example, but I had a really hard time bringing myself to smash this innocent creature. And long story short, I ended up not killing the ladybug, but still I learned something about myself from the process. So
the ladybug lived. That's the best part of the story.
Yeah, the ladybug lived.
No, a ladybug.
If it had been a spider, it would have been a completely different story. But
I hear you on that. So. I hear you on the spider thing, by the way. Stephanie, now same question for you. Give us a little bit of your process and your research for this character.
Mine was a little bit different, since I don't play the serial killer, but my process started back in September, and I was actually cast as a different role. I was actually cast as Cherry Bomb. And shortly after, I was switched to Skyler, and I was very excited about that because I had a lot more of a connection with her than I did with Cherry Bomb. So when I finally got that opportunity, I felt a little bit more in my own skin. I could definitely relate to her a lot. She's kind of, I guess, the only real normal character in the entire movie. She doesn't really have any vices. She's kind of like the sweet, all-American girl next door who happens to have a really big crush on a serial killer. So trying to find that whole dynamic of being attracted to the bad boy, which I feel a lot of girls are.
Yes.
It's
very true.
a little bit more of an extreme bad boy version, and she's
Would you compare her a little bit to like Sidney Prescott in Scream, or for example, Jamie Lee Curtis's character in Halloween, like that type of heroine?
Yeah, I mean, she
is she a scream queen, in other words?
No, I mean, I didn't really have that type of moment, but she is definitely a strong character. But yeah, she is definitely a character that I feel that a lot of people can relate to. She
has to work with and hang out with these very interesting characters. There's another lead actress named Peyton who plays Brittany, and she's a very extravagant, outgoing, outspoken person. So the dynamic that Skyler has to deal with Justin and Brittany sort of being caught in the middle between these very strong personalities is very interesting, and actually brings some comedy into the whole mix when she's trying to deal with these two people. But yeah, it was actually very interesting because I found life imitating art with a lot of my own situations when I was playing Skyler, and just when I was in my own daily life with trying to deal with boys and trying to be a single girl in her 20s and trying to figure out life and where you're at. And yeah, it was very interesting to see how like my life and Skylar's life sort of would intertwine. And but yeah, it was definitely very fun. I saw myself in her several times, and then I would try to envision basically how I would react if I was in her situation. She can come off a little bit shy and a little bit timid, whereas I might be a little bit more outspoken in certain situations. But I guess you can kind of learn to maybe sort of bite your tongue when she, has those opportunities. But yeah, it was very fun, and it was just a joy to play her and to be this wonderful, sweet person. So I really enjoyed playing Skyler a lot.
Very cool. When did you get your start again acting? How old were you?
I actually recently started. It was
Recently,
back in 2013, yeah. So I'm a newbie actor.
Now, have you always wanted to act, though, or is it just something that one day you just woke up and you're like, I want to be an actress now?
Yeah, actually, ever since I was probably a toddler, I had always wanted to act. I am an only child, so I always wanted to put on shows for people. When I was little, I would literally stop whoever was in the house. Like, whatever they were doing, I would stop you. And I would make you sit down in the living room and watch me perform some little dance routine. And I definitely
still does that, by the way.
I definitely
She still does
had
it,
a little ego. But yeah, but I mean, it definitely takes a lot of guts to do what we do and to be this vulnerable and to expose yourself and to sort of dive into these characters and into these lives. So it wasn't until after college when I decided, I need to follow this normal path. I need to go to college and get a real job, that I realized this isn't really who I am, and I decided to finally pursue my dream when I was 23 years old.
Very cool. And you have a great acting name, Stephanie Casebier.
Thank you. I've
so great. You don't need a stage name. You got the perfect name.
Yeah, thank you.
Now, Jake, same question for you. How long ago, when did you start acting again, and have you always wanted to act?
I've always wanted to act. I've always wanted to tell stories. My one true passion in life is the human experience. And so anything that I can do or create to embody that or to perpetuate that, I lend myself to. Like Stephanie, I also went to college. I graduated college. I studied film business, but I also studied history. And so I took those 4 years to see if I could not convince myself of a more linear passion, a more profitable passion, but I could not be convinced. And so once I graduated, I did some production work on the business side of film and decided that my true passion was in front of the camera and, behind the keyboard. So I write, I act, and I, like Stephanie, I moved to Atlanta. I slept on my friend's floor for about a month. so I'm grateful to my friends for that. And I enrolled in Nick Conti's acting studio, which is an elite studio in Atlanta for actors. It's where I met Stephanie, through who I met Trix, and so all of this get well I owe to Stephanie and Nick Conti's professional actor studio. So
it all ended well.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, that is true. I mean, Jake kind of filled in for like the one kid I cast as Justin before, and I just could not deal with how he was portraying Justin. So, yeah, Stephanie was a big part of getting Jake involved.
Now, as a writer and director, what part of the process do you favor the most?
I like writing it, to be honest with you. I mean, I like to create the story.
Uh-huh.
I guess that would be my favorite part of the whole process. That and casting, because I do the casting and the directing and the writing and somewhat of the producing. So, but yeah, writing probably be my favorite.
I think, most writers should be involved in the casting of films, and I don't know why they really aren't. Because when you're writing a movie, you're really writing a certain character that you have in your mind, and only really the writer can, I think, find the right actor for that role.
Yeah, I mean, once it goes to Hollywood, production,
they change everything. Yeah.
They really do. And the Get Well script was 150 pages long, so I mean, I took out maybe about 20 pages. I mean, when Stephanie mentioned Cherry Bomb, unfortunately, I had to take that character out. I mean, there were some characters that were written in that, as Jose Canseco's character, and that whole process was taken out.
Yeah, which is how I got to know of you guys, by the way. Shout outs to Jose.
Yeah, Canseco, he's a pretty good guy.
Oh, he's an awesome guy. I met him a long time ago, not in a galaxy far, far away, mind you, but back in 1994, I met Jose, and he was a really nice guy back then. How'd you guys meet Jose, if you don't mind me asking? Since you brought him up.
I found him on IMDb Pro, and then contacted his manager. That was basically it.
Ah, well, a much simpler story than I expected.
Yeah. Very easy.
I was expecting we were on a ship, and he was out on the balcony, and we saw the silhouette of this big muscled guy, and he turned around and he said, "Hi, Jose Canseco, get out of my way." And then you asked him, "Can you be in my movie, Mr. Canseco?" And then we had dinner together with him and his girl, and it was I was expecting something like that, but much simpler. Great story then. Now, in all seriousness, Trix, do you think this project could see maybe a sequel? I mean, did you write it with that in mind? Because you did say that originally you had it as a series. So, I mean, is that an idea?
With the web series, it could have went longer into Justin's head, because he does have like these two like good angel, bad angels. Their names are Ziggy and Gabriel that play a big part in his decision making. And you could have expanded a lot on that if it was a web series. But yeah, I could see this being a prequel, or even doing kind of like a sequel, leaving it like more of like on like Skyler's end now, kind of like you mentioned Scream. You could have probably do something along the lines of that, like a copycat or something like that. Because there is some characters that live at the end of this.
Now, Trix, let's not spoil the ending or give away too much. When can we expect some footage online to tease the audience?
Like I said, 2 weeks. I talked to Rex yesterday.
Uh-huh.
He just got back home. He spent a week after we wrapped. I think everybody just took some time to themselves for like a week. I think he went and spent some time with his family. I spoke with him late last night, and he just got back to Greensboro. And he's dumping the footage, and he's putting together the trailer. And we got a really sick song from a band called Renister. Is that how you say it, Steph? Renister?
Yeah.
Renister?
Works for me.
A really good band from Atlanta. They submitted a track we're going to use. So, we're going to use some of their music, and we're just going to, do the best trailer we can and knock some socks off some people.
Very cool, man. If you need some music, I have a long list of independent artists that I could bring your way.
Yeah, email them to me. Email it to me. I'll definitely take a look at it.
What's the soundtrack going to be like? Rock, hip hop-ish? I mean, what's the genre?
I mean, the only like hip hop I can really probably use is when we had this big birthday party at a strip club. I can probably play some hip hop there.
Makes sense.
I kind of want to do I really like to do a score. That's like my main thing right now. But I'm a big fan of like the punk rock, the Warped Tour stuff. If I can find something like that to throw in there, but I don't know. It's up in the air. Whatever I feel can fit the tone of the movie, I think I'll use.
Yeah, very cool. How satisfying was it when you guys yelled rap, or when you're ending this project? I mean, how satisfied are you going to be when it's done?
It was like winning the World Series. We actually played the Icon for Hire Get Well when we rapped. As soon as I said cut, the song played. It was actually like the end of SNL, and everyone's like hugging each other and high-fiving each other, but all we needed was like confetti and champagne, like you won the World Series. It was like a very humbling moment. I was so proud of everybody. Basically, it was like the rap for like half the cast that day, so everybody stayed until it was over, and it was a great experience.
That's awesome.
I actually was wrapped. Yes, I was actually wrapped a couple of days before that, and I almost died on my way home. So Get Well could have been the last thing that I did. I was driving back through the mountains near Asheville, North Carolina, and this is the end of March, and all of a sudden it's just this torrential downpour of snow, and about 3 cars in front of me all went off the side of this embankment on this mountain. A car clipped, and it was a mess. So I was just glad to get home.
This is why I'm glad I live in Florida, by the way. I live in Miami, Florida. I'm so happy about that. No snow. Don't have those issues. But the beautiful part of rapping, I think, for you guys rapping this project, the satisfaction you got. Now your work is not done, though. I mean, you're going to go back into the lab here for several more months to cut this thing together, piece it together. So, I mean, did you immediately start thinking about the next part of the process when you guys rapped, or did you take a couple of days to kind of like reflect back and think back of the entire thing? I mean, how soon did you jump right back into work after you were done?
Well, May is when we're going to start the editing. I did tell Rex, take the month off. He's got some other projects he's got to do for the rest of the month of April, and then he was May 1st. He's jumping into the final editing, and then probably by June, July, we'll do the ADR, and then
any pickup shots at all? Any like post-production pickup shots or anything like that?
Yeah, I'm sure we'll have to do something. I want to see it all laid out first before I decide where I want to move with all that. We do have some good B-roll stuff. I guarantee you an A+ project when this is done. I really do. Especially because I'm working with Rex. He is the best in the Southeast. This guy does it all, and all the cast members have been brilliant. I mean, all these kids could be in Hollywood films. I mean, I have nothing bad to say about anybody's acting. Like I said, Jake carried this. I mean, just him as the lead right now is fantastic. And I tell him that like every time I see him. Like I'll even text him sometimes and be like, "Hey man, just want to say thank you for all the stuff you've done." So.
It's special when you're
very encouraging.
That has to be special though, as a filmmaker, when you find that actor who can really capture the role of the character that you wrote and that you thought up of.
Right, and like I'm a type of director. I'm like the actor's director, I guess you could say. I give the actors a lot of freedom to come up with like stuff like on the spot. Like if I'm not like Quentin Tarantino where I have to be, all right, I wrote this, you're going to do it as I say. I'm not like that. Like we'll come up like the script's there, and we'll run through the blocking, we'll get it all set up, and then if Jake or some of the other actors, like the guy that played Brody, his name's Brandon Hembry, he was really good with that. Like Scott Oakley, who played Bunny Rabbit, and he was good with that. We come up with like some like pinpoints. Maybe we'll change some of the dialogue. Maybe we'll add something to it. Maybe we'll take something away. So I'm really good with letting the actors feel comfortable, and deciding, how we should do it.
Very cool. Get Well. I can't wait to see this movie, man. I'm excited to see the final product. And when you guys are further along, when you got more stuff to promote, I'd love to have you back on here. Everybody,
absolutely.
I'd love to have everybody give out any websites that they have before we're over here. Trix, if you have a website to promote the movie, please give it out.
Yeah, we have a Facebook right now. It's called The Get Well Movie. And website should be coming up within the next couple of months. It's actually called thegetwellmovie.com. Sorry, my dog was barking.
I heard you get louder, try to talk over the dog, which is funny. But Jake, Stephanie, do you have websites also that you want to give out?
I'm sorry, I didn't quite hear your question.
Sure. Anybody else have, Jake, do you have a website for yourself to promote as an actor?
I don't. I'm pretty low-key these days, but...
Stephanie?
The only thing that I'm on is just like Facebook and Twitter, and I'm on IMDb, and I have an Instagram page, but that's pretty much it.
Very cool. Well, yeah, at least you're on IMDb. That's cool. Trix, are you on IMDb yet? Is the movie on IMDb?
Yeah, the movie is on IMDb under Get Well. Everyone in the cast has an IMDb. Even the extras have been very generous with that. Even the extras, I gotta give a thumbs up to. These extras have helped me out, have helped the movie out. So I'm humble for everybody that was involved. So I gave everybody an IMDb credit for this.
That's awesome. 7 months of production. That's a long production shoot. That's
you have
to have a lot of loyalty from people to pull that off.
Right. I moved to Charlotte a year ago this month, and I started pre-production with Get Well in July. So it's been from July until basically last Monday. I've been absorbed in this.
That's amazing. I love independent projects, man. I wish you guys the best. I think
Thank you.
You have something great here, and I really am excited to see what you pull off here and see the final product. And anything I can do to help you promote it, please use my show as a vehicle. And I'm gonna give you a couple of names later on in private, Trix, of artists that I know that you might be interested in, both in hip hop and non-hip hop. People you might
awesome.
actually like. So we're all out of time, almost in about 2 minutes, guys. It was awesome having you on the show. Thank you so much for being here with me.
Well, thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
The podcast will be live by tomorrow. This will be on YouTube everywhere, so we're going to promote the heck out of the movie. By the way, when you guys have the website ready, please let me know so we can place a banner on my website to get you some traffic over there also. Give you a little cross promotion.
I actually talked to the web designer today. This needs the trailer and all the promotional, stuff to put up there, but it will be thegetwellmovie.com.
There we go. Very, very cool. Guys, thank you so much for being on.
Thank you, man.
Thank you for having us. All right, bye-bye.
There you go, everybody. That is the director and the cast of the movie Get Well. So cool having them on. I can't wait to see that film. It sounds really neat. It really does. And I love horror movies. I love scary movies. I love thrillers. I love, this genre of film. So I can't wait to see the movie. I think it's going to be awesome, and I hope everybody keeps up with what they're doing. Remember, just look up Get Well on IMDb for more information on the film and for all the actors' bios and information. Really cool people, Stephanie and Jake. And I love her name, Stephanie Casebier. That is the best name ever. Stephanie Casebier. I think I'm going to change my name to Casebier. Angel the Jackal Casebier. Awesome. Guys, we're all out of time. We'll be back next week on Tuesday night on the Hour of the Jackal's Head. Right here on psn-radio.com and, of course, SoFloRadio.com. Shout-outs to George Rodriguez, Zod Ryder, and everybody who listened in tonight. Thank you for joining us and being part of the show. Till next week, this is River to Flame by Tim Branham.